out that they were always questions. John Quincy Adams and those guys never really got it off because they thought it stole it from Jackson, but it wasn't as bad as now. So Ken Blackwell, first go through your piece about why the Electoral College on the 14th is not the end all and be all, and then I want to ask you what we're going to do about it and how we're going to execute on stopping the steal and securing the victory on November 3rd. But go through your piece first so that we make sure that media matters. All the guys are going to hammer us that we're just crazy. I want to hear from Ken Blackwell, Ken Blackwell has a lot of things, but he ain't crazy. Okay, this is a steady Eddie. This is about as stable as you can get. So Ken, walk us through it.
First, let me just say, Steve, that I'm a constitutionalist. And so I read the Constitution. You don't have to be a lawyer to understand the words of the Constitution. It's pretty clear. And I go to Article 2 of the Constitution, which basically says that state legislatures set the rules by which elections are carried out in their state. They, in fact, in the final analysis, can name the electors. They can deal with transgressions against their rules. Not secretaries of state, not governors, not state Supreme Courts. The Supreme Court cannot get around the fact that these state legislatures have standing and have the final authority to challenge and to name electors. And so we have to look at this as a state-by-state basis. Right now, we're talking about 7 states in general, but there's been a lot of emphasis on four states, most notably Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Arizona. Now, what I will tell you, Steve, is that in 7 states, those 4 states that I just mentioned in particular, there are alternative slates of delegates that will be sent to the Congress. The Congress on January the 6th starts the process of certifying the Electoral College votes. There's precedent. One of the things you need to get are newspaper articles or clips of 4 years ago, this coming January the 6th, of Maxine Waters standing up on the floor of Congress saying that she needed somebody from the Senate to join her in challenging the electors. She said that Donald Trump was not a legitimate candidate, that the process that elected him was flawed, and let me just say parenthetically, in 2019, Jimmy Carter made the same argument. There's a picture in Politico where Jimmy Carter is making this case that the president was not a legitimate president, and guess who's standing in back of him? Stacey Abrams. Look at there. There you go. And so this is not unprecedented. What I want to tell you is that we now know that there are more than a dozen members of the House who are ready to challenge these delegations. There is a growing number. I think there are probably 3 solid senators who will challenge the electors from their states. I'm not sure that they will go beyond their states, but I think we can create the pressure and the demand that this be prosecuted on the 6th, that we, in fact, can make sure that those folks who are electors for Trump, who won, if you count legal ballots, won this election. Let me just take Wisconsin. There were 220,000 votes that violated Wisconsin election law. The margin of victory for Biden in Wisconsin was 20,000. If the state legislature says that those ballots should have been thrown out, Trump wins, his electors should be seated. And we can make the case, as Peter has done, in those battleground states, and where there's evidence, as he indicated, mountains of evidence. And let me again say parenthetically, none of these cases decided by these courts have been decided on the merits of the evidence. They've been thrown out for procedural, not meeting procedural standards, or the argument has been that those bringing the charges don't have standing. He is absolutely right. There's a mountain of evidence, and we need to prosecute this case on January the 6th, and we should send a message to the Republican Party. They want us to believe, the left and the mainstream media, that Donald Trump, as evidenced by results, had long coattails but no coat. As I've told you before, it is as if we've gone through the looking glass with Alice, and things that he said.
Ken, hang on one second. We're going to ask you to stay over. We're going to take a short commercial break. We got to get more of this. Ken Blackwell, one of the most esteemed members of the conservative movement, the Trump movement, the Republican Party, just a historic figure. We're going to return with Ken Blackwell in the War Room in just a minute. The President of the United States on fire today on Twitter. We're going to get into all of that. I want to return now to Ken Blackwell, but I want to say something. We're trying to get this up maybe in the second hour. Before, let's do gradations. Before we call out the Insurrection Act, okay? Before we do that, why don't we focus on these Republican legislatures in Wisconsin, in Georgia, in Arizona, in Michigan, in Pennsylvania? I'm just throwing out some random states, just randomly. Before we get to the Insurrection Act, why don't we focus on that? So we've got Ken Blackwell, one of those. So Ken, right now I've got two things. I want to get to your January 6th, but I like critical path and I like process. Don't we have those right now? You laid it out. It's 221,000, and the court agrees with you. Go and read the opinions of the minority in the overall opinion, and they had another opinion where they basically said we agreed that was ballot harvesting, but the campaign's got to go back and prove it. That's in Wisconsin. In Georgia, you got a raft of things, right? They're talking about 400,000 illegal votes in every category, as Smith and Cleta Mitchell lay out. Okay, you can call a special session there. And in Arizona, the whole nightmare and all of it, plus the Dominion voting system. They're doing a forensic audit right now in Maricopa County. So, Ken, do you agree that before we get to January 6th, we have special sessions? We got plenty of time. It's December 18th. I understand Christmas is normally a time people take off. Hey, Donald Trump ain't taking it off. He's not going to Mar-a-Lago, right? He's staying right here in Washington, D.C. So, Ken, what do you say to Republicans out there who say, we ought to call the insurrection, I'll do all this? What should we do with these state legislatures right now?
I think we have to be very, very clear, Steve, that this Article 2 of the Constitution gives them the authority to self-convene. They don't have to wait for a governor to convene them, to self-convene on the narrow issue of the presidential election and the electoral college. So don't let them escape and say we can't self-convene. They can self-convene, and they, in fact, need to take back their authority and act. It is a matter of political will. And let me just say this. This is a message to the Republican Party. This president helped you pick up a governorship, add to our majority of legislative chambers across the country, narrow Nancy Pelosi's margin in the House, maintain our majority in the Senate. We have to stop acting like a 90-pound weakling. We are the majority party in the United States, representing a majority of Americans, and we have to reclaim our legislative authority, our constitutional right to litigate and prosecute this case and to name the electors that should represent an accurate tally of legal votes cast. You are absolutely right. We can start that process now. There's nothing in the Constitution, nothing in the rule of law that says that they can't do it. We can't let them off the hook.
Okay, hang on one second. I want this audience to understand something. And we live this 20 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Absolutely right. We can start that process now. There's nothing in the Constitution, nothing in the rule of law that says that they can't do it. We can't let them off the hook.
Okay, hang on 1 second. I want this audience to understand something. And we live this 20 hours a day, 7 days a week, and we've done it. I went around the country arguing this back in what, August and September and October. The plan is still 2020. That is the single best assessment I've heard of this entire thing. And this is what I keep saying. It's do you have the political will and the ability and the discipline to enforce your will? Ken Blackwell just laid it out. We're the majority party. And all Blackwell's saying is that we don't need to call out the troops. We don't need to do anything. Let's just act like a majority party. The people elected you throughout the nation and these state legislatures to represent the interest of these states. And Blackwell's saying, act like it. That's all you need to do. Read the Constitution and act like it. We don't need any radical solutions here. You need a solution that's laid out by our framers.
Absolutely.
Ken, this is why you need voices like Ken Blackwell in crises like this. You need the stable ones that can sit there and go, hey guys, what are you doing? What are you running around with your hair on fire? This is pretty straightforward. So Ken, we got a couple of minutes. Also on January 6th, the senators that purport to be part of the Trump movement, Hawley, Rubio, Cotton, Cruz, and these are great people, right? But in Loeffler and Perdue, do they have to tell the president or the country like Tuberville's now, we're going to stand and deliver on January 6th? If the state legislatures haven't taken care of this problem, or haven't at least vetted, have provided a platform to vet it, we're going to vet this in the United States Senate starting on January 6th. What are your thoughts?
Well, I think those folks that you just named can prosecute this case very effectively. Evidence-based case can be made. A constitutional case can be made. This is within the four corners of the rule of law. This is within the four corners of constitutional process. And so no one should hide behind the fact that courts have not acted on the merits of these cases. We, in fact, have a separation of powers. This is not a decision for governors. This is not a decision for secretaries of state. These are decisions for legislative bodies within our constitutional republic. We must demand that folks muster the political will to do the right thing.
Ken, how do people get access to you? Probably we're going to have the article up. Everybody's got to read this article. But Ken, what's your Twitter, Parler? How do people get access to you during the day?
I have followers at Facebook. Go to my public page on Facebook. That's the best collection of my work. Or you can go to Twitter at Ken Blackwell.
You're a hero to me. You always have been. You're a patriot and you're a great American. I got to tell you, Ken Blackwell, thank you so much for coming on today and sharing your thoughts.
Right back at you, brother.
In the history of this show, and I'm very proud of many of the segments, I'm very proud of many of the stories are broken, that is one of the most important and powerful 30 minutes we've had on the show. We're going to break that down. We're going to get that to everyone. Everybody in the hashtag War Room, everybody in the live stream, push that out. Ken Blackwell is a man of character. He's a man of substance. He does not chase his tail. He's not chase rabbits. And he just laid it down right there. We're the majority party. It's time to start acting like you're the majority party. The people in this country elected you for a reason. If you do not stand and deliver, you're going to hear from those people. Ken Blackwell.